So
twice in one game.
Twice in one game. It was pretty impressive. So Crash, he has a lot of raw talent.
Well, it's like we said
needs
before.
refining.
Crash is the best good-bad player we have in the league. He's very good-bad. That's the only way to say it.
He will get it. He reminds me actually a lot of Swift.
Okay.
Although more farm-oriented than gank-oriented like Swift was in his early days on Frost, in that he will make very impressive plays and get large leads and then attempt to throw them with all his might.
That's right. He likes to, the pendulum really likes to swing both ways with this guy's gameplay. Longzhu going to be the team that bans away that Nidalee, though, this game. Meanwhile, GPTF on the KT side, Kalista the second ban for Longzhu. See what it ends up being.
But it is exciting to have Crash as a jungler be the most dominant player statistically in the first 10 minutes of play in the entire league. And the Azir ban coming through, one of the rare Azir bans we've seen.
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, we've seen, obviously, BDD make Azir work on CJ, but we haven't seen it much outside of CJ. I think only like once, if I remember right.
Yeah. And it's worth noting the GP and the TF bans, though that was part of their most recent victory, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Flame on the GP and Frozen on the Twisted Fate. It was very effective. And they are going to ban out the Corki, so no Varus ban. They must have a plan to deal with it. And it will be Poppy, one of Sunday's best champions.
Yeah, good first pick for KT Rolster. And now Longzhu with some options as well. Alistar available, Lissandra available, which is probably pretty notable. The Corki taken away, though. Let's see what they pick.
Crash has been playing a lot of Nidalee when he can't get, or excuse me, Elise when he can't get his hands on Nidalee recently.
Yeah. True.
So setting up for a more gank-oriented jungler than a dedicated counter jungler. Nidalee has been definitely his most impressive champion, but not to say that he's had bad games on the Elise.
His Nidalee games have been pretty insane. Taking him off of that kind of makes him more of a mortal jungler, it seems like.
So Lulu's still up. Longzhu's other win over Kongdu was with Lulu Sivir. And I think that KT may just want to take the Lulu away here. Otherwise, we're going to see probably a similar style of composition from Longzhu.
I mean, that kind of shows what the solo lanes are for KT, though, right? To be having to pick that Lulu so early.
Yeah, it would, but it's still a power pick, and they can still play around it with a variety of AD carries, including Arrow, who can play Lucian. Although we've been seeing more Vayne as a response to the rise of Sivir. Jinair playing that yesterday. And it will be Gragas. And Alistar. So huge frontline setup here for KT Rolster.
Yeah, good amounts of engage, too. I mean, it almost looks like the KT from last year a little bit early on, where they were just so engage heavy.
And with this trio of champions, with all the displacement and, like you said, engage that they have, you really don't want to play Kindred. So Kindred is now off the table for Longzhu if they had any desire to play it at all, though I do think they will just put Crash on that Elise.
I mean, we've seen Crash, you know, use a Kindred in the past, have it be popular, but yeah, that Gragas pick especially, really hard to keep people on the Kindred ult if Gragas is barreling everybody away from there. Now, Frozen has played plenty of Zed in the past, but we'll see if it ends up coming out in the last pick. Elise Braum coming in for Longzhu. I
really don't want to see more weird blind picks from Frozen. He had that Pantheon game versus the Rocks Tigers. Blind picking Pantheon, that turned out quite ugly, so I like that they're saving that. Not going for a Zed or something that carries an inherent amount of risk. Could be Lucian Lulu here. Be quite strong. But when they see the Sivir, they may just go for that Vayne. Easy for Vayne to lane against Sivir because she's not as punished with her lower range, and she can just tumble out of the way of a Boomerang Blade and try and bait out the spell shield. And Fly has been playing a lot of Zillion this season, so it could just be a protect the Vayne comp. This would be very similar to the way that they lost with Draven, except with a more reliable late game carry. You don't have to get those early kills to snowball.
I was going to say, yeah, I think if I had to choose between Vayne and Draven at this point, Vayne probably be the way to go in terms of a safer late game, and they will lock it in. So they've got the Zillion too, so just a ton of protection for this Vayne.
Doing it again. All right, didn't work against Jinair. Will this work against Longzhu? We did see a lot of Zillion bans against KT Rolster early in the season. And also they have the Zillion Poppy combo, which is just wonderful for dives. So KT, when I've said this a lot this season, but when Zillion has been the most successful around the world, it has been when paired with Poppy. Because you have the ability to dive very deep and deal damage under turrets, and they've got tons of follow-up. Gragas, Alistar, all able to dash underneath the turrets and Vayne to clean up. So I like this composition way more than I liked the Draven composition they ran the other day.
Oh yeah. Lots of potential for action. That's the best part. You're right, Monte Cristo. I'm glad we agree on that.
Yep, deep diving. And Longzhu here. Looking at this Lulu.
Good.
And again, they ran Lulu Sivir against Kongdu. And they may just go for the wave clear instead.
Okay.
That's what they're going to select.
Yeah.
Of course, Lulu has decent wave clear also, but they decide they want another damage threat. Otherwise, this would be a game of basically dueling between Arrow and Captain Jack.
Yes, that sounds great.
Whichever team's AD carry died first would lose the game, basically. It would be funny, but...
It'd be cool. I mean, the interesting thing about both of these teams is they are teams that are, you know, pretty AD carry-centric in general.
KT really has very even damage splits across the board. They don't have a player who is very high in damage percentage share or damage per minute. It's all the carrying is pretty much evened out across all the lanes. So they win or lose together. They don't really have a hard carry right now, at least in terms of the numbers. If you had to pick one player who is the standout, obviously it would be Someday, but it's been a very team-focused season so far for KT Rolster.
Well, they're going to need that focus against a team like Longzhu. I mean, Longzhu looking to strike when KT is vulnerable. And after that 0-2 to Jinair, it's certainly looking that way. KT, though, kind of saying, nope, that kind of composition, we can make it work. We just shouldn't use Draven. And I can't disagree with that.
Yeah, I like what we're seeing. Definitely going to be interesting. See if Arrow can carry the team.
That's right. Time to get into game number 1, KT versus Longzhu. Let's do it.
Everybody wants to rule the world. There's a room where the light won't find you. Holding hands while
We're in that kind of room right now. A room where the light can't find us, unless it's already installed in the room.
That's right. Well, I would say the light finds us pretty frequently, actually,
Just-
because we have giant lights pointing at us.
You know in the song they're referring to sunlight, though, right? Natural lighting. It's more the spirit of the message of the lyrics rather than the actual verbiage.
The letter.
That's right.
Are
So,
you a spirit of the law man, not the letter of the law?
it depends on what my D&D character is, really, you know? Depends on my alignment at the time, you know what I mean? It's a pause. It's making me feel a little bit more towards the chaotic evil side. I want to get into this game, man.
So what are you going to do? Go in there and just randomly start punching people until the game starts?
That's right.
Deal with your problems.
Fix the computer. Like, pick it up, fix this, and I'll throw it through the window. No. That wouldn't fix the computer. I'm just kidding. Well, Frozen looking pensive. Looks like it's the issue.
Happy
with his
White
computer.
Day. You want to explain what White Day is, Noah, so our viewers don't get the wrong idea?
That's it's that kind of season, isn't it? It really has been. But okay, so in Korea,
Oh, it's a cake.
that's because it's Frozen's birthday.
It's Coco's birthday.
It's Coco's birthday. That's what I meant. I meant to say
Look at his
Coco.
Jace. That's so cute.
That is adorable. So anyway, White Day. It's not what you think it might be. In Korea, Valentine's Day is basically the day where the girl gets the guy something, and then White Day is the day where the guy gets the girl something. So they split it up. You know, on Valentine's Day in the U.S., maybe both people get each other little gifts. Well, generally the guy gets something, you know, way nicer for the girl. You know, my experience. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying, you know, I mean, for land of equality, got some work to do on Valentine's Day there, America. But in Korea, they just split it up. They just make it separate days, you know. So today is the day where the guys, you know, get their girlfriend stuff. It's kind of nice.
You know what makes me mad, Noah?
What's that?
That we just saw. So Coco's birthday is on March 14th, which is Pi Day.
Pi Day? Oh, yeah, I suppose.
3,
it is.
3.14,
yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But it's a cake. What the hell?
I don't know.
He's born on
I
Pi
don't
Day.
know.
You don't buy a man a cake who's born on Pi Day.
That's
shame.
First world anarchist right there. Well, we're back in game. Things are pretty quiet, seems like. Looks like we are going to get probably standard lanes. Yep.
Why would you do that?
Why would you do standard lanes?
No, why
For the
would you?
pie?
Why would
Oh.
you? I'm still on the pie.
I don't know, man. Some men just want to watch the world burn.
You mean some fangirls just
Some
want to watch the
fangirls.
world burn? I mean, Coco's
right.
not even playing right now.
Some fangirls just want to watch Coco eat cake. Ours is not
Missed.
why.
Missed opportunity.
Yep. Maybe they don't know.
I'm sure everybody would agree with me. If you were born on 314, you should be receiving the pie.
You know, some people just don't like pie. I mean, I like pie. but
Pie
some-
is vastly superior to cake in every regard.
I think there's pros and cons. I can see value in both desserts.
Let me put it this way. The average pie is substantially better to the average cake.
I would agree with you there. I do think it takes more for a cake to be a standout kind of cake, whereas a pie is just kind of nice in pretty much any form. But that's not to say that you can't have good cake, because you can. There's a good cake out there. There's a good band called Cake as well.
I like them. I saw them in Central Park one time.
Cool. I've not seen them. Not live. Only pictures. Thought we needed to get to some real minute detail for that one.
Pictures of the food or pictures of the band?
Both.
Nice.
Sometimes at the same time, even. Probably picture out with Cake holding a cake. Well, just kind of the trading you'd expect to see in this bot lane. And the pushing you'd expect to see from Vayne Alistar. And it's probably just going to be like this for a little while. Unless something goes crazy, but it won't.
Well, there's a slight danger of an Elise gank right now, but you can see the wards
There's
in the
a ward.
river.
Yeah.
This should be a pretty farm-centric game, at least to start things off with, which will suit both teams just fine. It's going to be all about the team fighting in this game, although there will be the possibility, at least, for Longzhu to split push later on with the Trundle. Once he starts to get rolling.
Be a gank in the mid lane here from Crash. Fly coming over. Crash puts the ward down on the side. Fly sees it go down, so he's going to be safe. Zillion's lore is hilarious, by the way.
Is it?
He basically was this dude that was obsessed with time. And apparently there was this invading army coming into his city, right? And Zillion lived on top of this big tower, messing with time magic. And so he was messing with time magic, and he got kind of trapped in time, even though he was trying to find a way to save his city. So the other army comes in, destroys the city, kills everybody. They know Zillion's up there, but they're like, dude, wouldn't it be hilarious if we actually didn't touch Zillion's tower at all? We just sacked the city, killed everybody, and left. So when he wakes up, everybody's dead. Wouldn't that be great? Achani engages with a little bit of damage. Zeus pushes back. Actually, Achani taking the worst end of that one. So anyway, back to my story. So guess what happens, Monty?
Why would they not touch his tower?
Because they wanted to make him feel bad. It was like this awful practical joke. Like we
What
know
the
he's
hell?
up there. We know he's up there, but we're not going to do anything.
Why don't more armies commit practical jokes?
I know, right? So Zillion wakes up, and everybody's dead.
That's,
The end.
I guess, good job, army.
So he's real sad about that, but it gets worse for poor Zillion. He now has a disease that, I kid you not, in the lore is referred to as chronodysplasia, which means he's like kind of fading in and out of time randomly. Doesn't want to. A little bit of damage onto Frozen there. So he goes to the League of Legends because apparently in Summoner's Rift there's like a way for them to keep him in one place, keep him in one time. But I guess the trade-off is you get to be controlled by a summoner the entire time. So I don't know. I don't really think Zillion made the best decision. But then again, there was a pretty bad practical joke played on him that involved the death of his entire city and everyone he knows and loves. So there you go. Zillion in a nutshell.
I think Riot should fire their writers.
Well, I don't know. That may not actually be the lore anymore. But it was when I read it the other day.
The other day?
Yeah.
So it might have changed in like the last
Well,
week?
I read it on one of those phone apps that has all the champion info and stuff like that. So I don't know if that lore is up to date on the actual site. Not sure. We'll see. Someday making a journey down to the enemy jungle with Score. See what the plan is. Looks like it's going to be gank in the mid lane onto Frozen. Frozen still got the heal. He's got the flash. Moves back just in time.
Saw the ward go down.
Right.
So.
Ping's going down too from Longzhu. They knew it was up.
Score going to get his Raptor buff pop there, so they will not know that there's a pink ward behind the red buff. Convenient.
Guess
Maybe
so.
a little bit till he checks that. Recall now from Victor. Victor going heal in this game instead of TP. Fly going with the teleport, but that's just to get quickly back into the mid lane. Most of these Korean Zillion players do go Rod first and don't go tier. So a lot of the times we see Rod, Morel, and Omicron. For those curious.
Crash pulling ahead of Score just a bit in CS, but it'll be interesting to see if he can keep that up. Score is certainly a formidable opponent for him. And so far, a very quiet game. The only notable thing really is just the pretty big CS lead that Flame has managed to get up in top lane.
Yeah, doing a good job of dealing with Someday already. So a little bit of dueling right there, but
a lot of dueling. Someday on the run here. Gets low, doesn't need to burn that flash, but Flame looking a bit like the Flame of old in terms of just dominating that lane. So far anyway.
Well, it's hard too because he just pops his ult very liberally.
Yeah.
Right there, and Someday not ulting in response, just holding on to that one for the time being. Now an attempt here at a blue buff steal, but that's not going to go forward. Fly will double bomb it and take it out.
You know, in theory, if you were like a really tricky Poppy player, you could get behind your lane opponent, then ult them back under your own turret.
No, it doesn't work like that. It always ults them back towards their base.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad. All right, well, Someday trying to make a gank onto Flame here. Score coming in too. Flame running the opposite direction. He's going in, trying to give Crash time to come in. There's a flash from Flame. Mid laners move up, but Frozen stops Fly from going all the way up to top lane, so the gank ends up stopping. Crash getting there just in time.
Getting a little more pressure. This will force Flame to play more passively, but both flashes have been used from Someday and from Flame. Not much really gained out of that little gank, and we're seeing...
Wow, a lot of damage on the Fly. Chaos Storm dropped as well. Frozen getting low, though. He's still got a Summoner heal in his flash, so it's not the worst
nice
shape.
shot.
Yeah.
Gets
Whoa.
the shield.
Talk about knowing your limits, man.
Gets the shield from his Q, and doesn't have to worry about that. Crash coming up.
Yep, that's right. Someday the one in trouble now uses that ult, knocks Crash back out of the fight, and that's the end of that one.
So he always knocks you back towards the base.
I guess so.
Otherwise,
that
it would be
too bad.
extremely overpowered because you could just heroic charge past somebody. So if you're in melee range, just think about this. If you're in melee range with the other champion and they're up at your turret, you could just heroic charge past them, start channeling your ultimate and knock them into your turret every time.
That would be great.
No,
That's
it would not be.
That is exactly the kind of thing that League of Legends needs.
So broken.
That would be so great. Missed opportunity there. Crash stealing the wolf. But Scores up in CS is going to be one of the few games where Crash is probably going to be even in CS with his lane opponent, or his jungle opponent, I should say.
Well, he does have an extra recall in there. As you can see, he's already finished the Runic Echoes, so he will have a chance to get ahead again. He's been about 4 to 5 CS up this whole game, so about a camp and a half or 2. And he will likely get that again, although his entire jungle has been cleaned out.
Yeah.
And Score still has some more creeps to work on.
Poor Zillion. Afflicted with chronodysplasia. Really good at landing those bombs, though.
He says he only lands one.
I mean, one, it's 50%. That's not bad. Look at that. 2 for 3. The last couple seconds. Crash comes in. Fly just speeds away. Now the re-engage from Score. Nice ult. Wow. Great CC onto Frozen. He had no chance of getting out of that one. Score with the first blood. Wow. Frozen had a bad day.
Really good engage there from Score. Using that flash body slam, Gragas ultimate. They knew that Frozen wasn't going to have much of a chance to escape that one, and easy cleanup there, but he didn't have vision on the right side, and the bottom lane from KT was not present on the map. They probably thought that Gragas had gone back, just given that he hadn't shopped in a while. Not the right call.
Yep. Yep, Frozen not really even getting a chance to use his flash there too, so at least he has that for future ganks. But it does give Fly a nice little lead in mid lane.
Interesting to me that Someday has opted for the Sunfire Cape first when his defensive stats can be stolen. A bit surprised he wouldn't go for the higher trade value in the Iceborne Gauntlet first in this matchup. Obviously that armor can still be taken away by the Trundle ultimate, but considering that he has been falling behind in these trades.
And you wonder too, you know, just what the game plan is. Well, I mean, for both of these teams, it seems to just be kind of waited out until the late game. Power up your AD carry.
Yep. At least Longzhu has some more strategic options. KT is very much limited to grouping and diving or grouping and team fighting. While Longzhu, they have another carry threat. They can play for one split push if they want. KT can split push with Vayne, but that's not going to be too effective when the rest of the comp is built around protecting her because they don't have anything else to do with the other four.
I mean, I guess, whoa, Flame ulted back. Nice play by Score. Flame in a lot of trouble here. No flash. Uses that ult to try to stay away. There's the ultimate used for Someday to knock up Flame. Score dives under the turret, and there's going to be another kill for Score.
Ooh, they tried so hard to give that to Someday, but
yeah,
he eventually just had to finish off that kill. It's another good setup there from Score on the Gragas, and he's been one of the best junglers in Korea this season. Really making a lot of plays in this early game, and Crash not finding those ganks despite being on a more gank-oriented jungler, at least is nowhere near as useful in the late game as Gragas is.
Yeah, very true. I suppose we could see the Sunfire Cape first from Someday just to make sure he has, you know, a little bit more wave clear, make sure he can kind of extend the laning phase to give Arrow more time.
That's true. Definitely a valuable pickup considering that neither of these side lanes has the greatest amount of wave clear, especially compared to Longzhu, now that Trundle has that Tiamat, so he'll be doing that AoE damage to the wave, and you have Victor and Sivir, two of the best wave clear champions in their respective positions in the game.
Crash is hiding in a ward. That doesn't work.
But due to Score's jungling, they haven't really been able to take advantage of the wave clear to chip out turrets because he's been picking up these kills. Crash.
Oh, here comes Score. Crash slowed down by that cast, going in for more damage. Crash doesn't use that flash quite yet. Almost needed to. Either way, pushed out of lane, forced to recall. I think so far, Crash has been pretty thoroughly handled by Score.
To be expected, given Score's veteran status as a jungler.
One of the best, definitely.
In his second year now, after switching over from the AD carry upon the combination of the two KT rosters.
Whoa, Frozen very low. Here comes Score. Flash immediately from Frozen, lays down that gravity field to give himself more time to get out, but here comes Achani from the bottom. Death Ray used. There's Crash. Explosive Cask misses completely. Frozen taken out anyway, and now Crash stopped by the stun from the Zillion Bomb. Zeus is there to try to protect his jungler. Looks like he'll be able to do that for now, and so only one kill coming out for KT, but still the pressure just continues to mount on Longzhu IM.
Johnny was a little slow on his ultimate right there after he was stunned by the cocoon, about half a second, where I think he could have gotten a better position with his flash headbutt pulverized, but they still pick up the kill onto Frozen. They get one summoner out of him in trade for two. Johnny using his Ignite, but now more counter jungling for Score, has done a better job of controlling the enemy jungle of this game, which is rare considering the kind of player that Crash is.
I mean, we've seen some great aggressive counter jungling from
Zeus does not want to be there.
But yeah, I was going to say. But Score is, like we talked about, the old veteran. I mean, it's not just his jungle experience. He's had just a lot more pro gaming experience in general. He's been in the league pretty much since the very beginning. Well,
no, since
the very beginning.
Yeah. Tim and Madlife are the longest tenured players in this entire league at this point in time.
Yeah. And it really is a cool career for Score, too, to move between positions so smoothly as well. He was
one of the most successful role swaps in League of Legends history, you have to say.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah, I mean, even when he just started out in jungle, he was good, and he's only gotten much better since then. Yeah, and he was a great AD carry too.
Yeah, you have to argue that it's definitely up there with perhaps the most successful role swap in League of Legends history. There are some others you can certainly point to, such as Impact from support to top lane and then becoming a world champion top laner.
Yep.
That score is way up there.
True. And now all this pressure on that mid lane turret. Looks like KT is going to secure the first turret of the game in the mid lane. And they're pretty much getting what they want these games, right? You know, not a lot of pressure on the bot lane onto Arrow, letting him just farm up. Some days staying safe up in top lane. Fly pushing down mid lane to open up the map a little bit. It's pretty much all going KT's way right now, isn't it?
Yeah, and they haven't... certainly Zilean does have strong wave clear in the early game, and that's allowed them to chip out this mid lane turret. But it's been about scores, ganks. He's picked up the kills. Frozen did not take teleport. He took the heal instead, so he hasn't been able to get back to lane and respond when he has died quite as quickly. And that means that they've been successful when it comes to getting that mid lane turret, which is absolutely huge for them because now they have so much control over Dragon and they can just repeatedly force the members of Longzhu to fight them at that Dragon over and over and over again. So KT setting themselves up in a very good position.
Yeah. Arrow done with that Blade of the Ruined King too, so he's got some decent power behind him right now already. I don't really recall seeing Crash mitigated so well as we're seeing Score and KT do it this game. I mean, it makes sense. We talked about why, but it is surprising to see. After Crash's awesome start, KT just going to grab the Rift Herald, heralding nothing but his own demise.
As usual.
Yep.
How would it feel to herald your own demise?
You know, maybe his name is just Herald. He's just the Rift Herald. You know, like the Rift Steve or the Rift Bill. He's just Rift Herald.
Good old Harry.
Yeah.
Always just looking to give people a nice little buff.
Every
kill
Rift
him.
has to have its Herald. You know, he's just the Rift Herald.
I believe that's what they say.
It's the old adage. That's right.
A herald for every rift. And a rift for every herald.
Yep. Well said. Now we know. Well, the mystery's been solved. His name is just Herald. Call me Rift. Herald Rift. Herald's kind of an old dude name, though, you know? Sorry to anyone out there that's young and named Herald, but just in general.
No,
I mean,
it's not. There are a lot of Harrys. They're just all British, though.
That's true. That is true. But I mean, using like Herald, the name, not just shortening it to Harry. You don't hear a lot of people just called Herald anymore that aren't elderly.
I think it sounds more distinguished.
Do
I
you?
vote for more Herald, less Harry.
Well, you're the guy who prefers to be Christopher instead
That's
of
true.
Chris, too, though. So, yep. So you can't shorten my name. Just what it is what it is. But, so should we just call the Rift Herald Harold or Harry? What do you think he prefers?
He's not very distinguished,
Just Harry?
so Harry,
All right.
definitely.
All right.
He doesn't have a good buff. He hasn't
That's
earned.
true.
He hasn't earned being called Herald.
That's right. Not like Baron Nashor. All right, from now on, we dub thee Harry, formerly known as Rift Herald.
Oh, I think Score got that one.
Did he? Meanwhile, some action. Chani comes in with the flash. Arrow's right there to just destroy Captain Jack. Zeus on the run. Crash heading out as well. Zeus with a little bit more damage, courtesy of that time bomb. But yeah,
Hey,
that worked
Flame's
pretty
here.
well for KT. Hey, what do you know? Flame, what are you doing, buddy? I don't think you want to be there. That's a 1v5. Tries to flash away. Hachani blocking Zeus from helping out his top laner. So that's going to be another kill for KT.
Well, this is going back to compositions. I mean, KT ran the Poppy Zilean comp many times earlier this season, so they're returning to a staple of theirs. Great play from them. That's how you want to play this composition. Just TP into a lane, start diving them. You have that chrono shift. They're going to take the first dragon of the game. A little bit late, actually very late for Korea after
20 minutes,
after 20 minutes.
Wow. So probably not going to see a fifth dragon this game. Please, please don't let us see a fifth dragon this game.
But KT, 92.3% win rate. That is the highest win rate in the league when they take first dragon, because KT is so good at snowballing off of 5th dragon stacks.
Aside from Rocks Tigers,
Yes.
who have 100% win rate. Let's watch that fight one more time. KT used to have 100% too for a long time. Yeah.
Finally, I believe, lost a game.
Yep, that's right.
But early on in the season, they would focus very much around Dragon. They started off in the first round robin, take that objective, and then just fight around Dragon until they got 5 stacks and win. Split push.
Do you feel like, to a certain extent, now that Dragon has been buffed a little bit a patch ago, that Korea can start to move back towards a style of play that we saw in Season 5?
It's possible. I don't know if it's... that second Dragon stack is really nice with all of the poke compositions that are coming in, but poke compositions have difficulty taking Dragon in the first place, so if you can get it, it's good.
It's
but poke comps typically focus on towers instead of Baron or Dragon, because you have to spend a lot of time just dancing around the Dragon pit to get the poke in. You need to take it safely. So Longzhu is going to respond with a top lane turret now. Flame split pushing, getting increasingly deadly. Captain Jack there now too. Help push this one down, but Victor's going to have to be very careful about this.
Yeah, he backs off quite a bit. Fly just zoning with those time bombs.
And they see Captain Jack, who has been assigned to the top side for some reason. So Vayne is just left by herself in the bottom lane with no defense. KT going to take a tier 2. Poppy under the turret in the top lane is going to get Captain Jack spell blocking the heroic charge, spell shielding rather, and then Score is just going to show up along with KT's Fly and Hachani, who have just taken down. So they're going to trade 2 tier 2s for Zilch. Weird. That was a really weird lane assignment. I don't know why Captain Jack was at the top side, because you have to be really wary if there's only the Poppy there that you're going to get dove by the 4-man. So Victor just can't walk up to wave clear if he doesn't see more. So you have to have at least your wave clear in one of those, or 2 of those lanes. So you have Victor in mid and then the Captain Jack on Sivir in the bottom. So if 3 show in the mid lane, you don't just get a Vayne soloing down your turret in the bottom side with no defense. So that's a big mistake in lane assignment from Longzhu.
Well, we're in kind of a weird situation now, too, where the mid and bottom turrets are gone, and the top turrets are still all there for Longzhu. It's just kind of a turret configuration we don't see a lot.
No, but it makes sense in this situation because they have the Trundle, right? They have the pressure advantage in the top lane, so Flame's been playing it well. Let's be careful, not going to get stunned up there by the bomb. Who ended up with that red buff?
I'm pretty sure Longzhu got it. I don't know who. Yeah.
I have no idea where it went. Oh, I think it's Captain Jack got it.
Yeah, Captain Jack got it. Yeah, Score came in, but he couldn't quite.
Well, you can't defend this now because KT, here's the problem. They've started split pushing with Poppy and Zillion now. Both of those lanes that 2 towers are down are going to be pushing automatically from the more powerful minions. And that means KT can just group up here and zone them off the very low top turret.
Which is already gone.
Yep. So textbook play, KT. A very clean game so far with this composition.
Yeah, teleport coming in for KT. Gonna maybe try to make a play here. Longzhu in a lot of trouble. Captain Jack just destroyed again the bot lane. Immediately eliminated by KT Rolster, and at this point you just look at it and you're like, there's nothing that Longzhu can do.
This is a beautiful game from KT, honestly.
It really is.
They are playing this composition incredibly well.
Yeah, this is one of the cleanest games we've seen all season.
Yeah,
from a winning team.
And this is the mystery of KT. When they have good drafts, they can do stuff like this, and then they draft really strange compositions at times that look totally lost. But this is a comfort pick for them. Crash now going to die.
Hachani being very bold there. He may go down too. Crash turning to try to get the kill. He can't quite do it.
Summoner heal still there for Arrow, and
yep,
can't quite execute the Alistair with that Summoner spell still available.
It's 8-0 right now. If Longzhu hadn't gotten that 1 turret in top lane, we'd be very close to a perfect game by KT.
Yeah, it all comes down to Score's early game and then the execution of their lane assignments. Longzhu has given up a lot.
Zeus basically just kind of face checks that part of the lane, and he's going to pay for it, getting very low. Captain Jack and Flame on the run already. Arrow with that 9th kill for KT. And they can just keep putting the pressure on.
Zeus died, revived, and then died again.
Yeah, Zeus hasn't had the best game, for sure.
Longzhu just trying to delay their recalls right now so they don't get a quick Baron off of this. And they have more time to clear out the top wave and maybe contest it, but it's pretty much a lost cause now.
Seems that way. Let's watch
Just
that
great
teleport
from Someday, and then everyone already there. Longzhu too greedy, not respecting the teleport being up in the lead that KT already has. Frozen gets a good gravity field down, but there's just no follow-up. There's nothing he can do.
Fly is a secret agent now. He's 007.
And this is Fly at his best. The supportive mid laner opening up for Someday and Arrow. Fly is still the highest damage per minute player on his team, interestingly, even though he does play a lot of Zillion and Lulu.
That is odd.
But Arrow, extremely scary.
I've got
Has the armor penetration, has the Phantom Dancer now.
I've got a feeling Arrow's going to be doing more damage this time.
Hi, Flame.
Yeah, Flame is going to receive some damage here as he runs for his life. It's like, no, I can't hurt you. There's nothing I can do. But it doesn't matter. No mercy. The players of KT.
I mean, they're so far behind that apparently Poppy, Zillion, and Gragas can kill an ulting Trundle.
That's a good
TP
point.
going to come through from Fly.
Yeah, Fly trying to come up here and stop Longzhu from making this desperation Baron happen.
Zips out. So
Yeah.
that means Poppy is now alone in the bottom lane with an inhibitor turret.
Oh, that's not good if you're Longzhu.
Nope. And Fly's just here to prevent recalls.
Arrow's
Arrow,
here
no!
to do damage. Goes into the gravity field. Oh, Arrow, you've made a bad decision, but you might live. Nope, you won't. Still gets the kill onto Zeus anyway. He tumbled into the gravity field. Meanwhile, the rest of his team just decides to end the game. I guess that's happening someday after Crush.
What
Crush
the?
is
Why
throwing a
did that?
swamp.
What happened to that ult?
I don't know. He made the sort of visual effect like he was being ulted, but he didn't get knocked up. I don't know. Maybe he hit one of the overhangs on the wall.
Surrender.
I guess so. There's a surrender, and that's a 28-minute win for KT Rolster.
14-0.
Talk about a statement. That is quite the game from KT here in Game 1.
9 turrets to 1.
Yeah.
Wow.
Doesn't get much more one-sided than that. In fact, there's only one way it gets more one-sided, and that's if Longzhu doesn't take a single turret.
Well, very dominant performance there. Fly actually dealing the most damage that game. Fly, Score, and Someday dealing more damage than the Vayne, even though the Vayne was super fed, but they never really actually had a team fight. They were winning so hard out of the early game, and the fact that Longzhu did such a poor job defending their turrets that the split push was kind of stupidly effective in that game. And you shouldn't be able to split push against a Trundle and a Victor with Poppy and Zillion. That's not a thing that should be happening.
Longzhu just crushed those lanes so hard. They won that game the old-fashioned way, man. Just win in lane, win game, right?
And they had great TPs, great teamwork, and that's how this team wins.
Yep.
Now, when again, it comes down to KT's drafting. I thought they had a very good draft. We've seen them play Zillion Poppy before. They're good at it. We know that. When they have good drafts, they can execute their win conditions well. It's when they have weird drafts that things start to go sour for them.
Well, at least they've got a game to weirdly draft and lose before they're in danger of losing the series now. They're in good shape. They've got a buffer now. We'll see what Longzhu has in store for game number 2 if they're able to kind of get things together a little bit more.
Or change out their entire roster.
I was going to say they could do that, or at least swap out Zeus for Pure. Then again, swapping out Crash might not be a bad idea too. He's really struggled against Score. I guess that shouldn't surprise people, but he did look very good up until this game. We'll see what the plan is when we come back for Game 2, guys. Don't go anywhere.